This isn't just any religion. This is a religion that calls for Sharia law, which is incompatible with America and incompatible with the Constitution. Anyone with a functioning brain who is unafraid to just say what everyone's thinking, just say it because it needs to be said, will admit that Sharia law and the Western world cannot coexist. And by the way, we were here first, and this is my country, and I'm not giving it over to Islam. Welcome back to Come and Take It. So we still need answers from my last episode on the Katy, Texas shooting of the Christian baseball coach who just so happened to be in the middle of praying. It was just a random coincidence that there were some Muslim immigrants who, oopsies, accidentally shot up the baseball field. That was just an accident. So we're still working on uncovering what in the world is going on there because that stinks. I've got a couple of leads that tips that I have been given that I am still trying to work through. But as we talk about the Islamification of Texas and this country and how it's on the rise, I want to shed some light on where it's happening because it's always these places that you would least expect. We've talked about Epic City. If you guys have not heard yet about Epic City, please make sure you go check out my my podcast on the Epic City that's being built in Josephine, Texas, which you may be like, what's Josephine, Texas? Well, it's this sleepy little town outside of Frisco. They seem to target these sleepy little towns with these lax rules, sometimes unincorporated areas. They think they can get away with more. And Epic City is this big compound. It's like this Muslim compound, gated community where they've got everything you could possibly need if you're a Muslim. You would never have to leave the compound for anything, is kind of the point. And there's been a lot of controversy about that particular area. So for reference, okay, that place, Epic City, is being built in Collin County. And Collin County voted Republican plus 11.4 in the last presidential election, in the 2024 presidential election. So this county, in and of itself, is supposed to be, I would say like a Republican stronghold. So in comes the Islamification of Texas to the Republican Collin County, and now we have Murphy, Texas. Another sleepy little town you wouldn't expect, but here we are. Within Murphy, Texas, there is a residential neighborhood called Oasis Springs Manor. And if you move to Oasis Springs Manor, you can now live on streets such as Almaon Drive. By the way, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I don't care. This is a reference to a passage in the Quran, or a section in the Quran. Sadiq Drive. This is a popular Arabic name stemming back to Jafar al-Sadiq. This was the sixth Imam, a man who many Muslim writers credit for proclaiming the principle that whatever was contrary to the Quran should be rejected despite whatever evidence might support it. Now you have Usman Drive. This is, of course, a nod to the former Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. Now remember, the Ottoman Empire used the concept of jihad, or holy war, to expand Islam into non-Muslim territories. Like, they were really big on that. And then there's Saeed Drive, which that name signifies a Muslim descendant of their prophet Muhammad. And remember, Muhammad is a dude who married a child, had slaves. I'm sorry, you're supposed to call them concubines. That's the more PC way of saying that. Okay, so that's what he had. I believe he consummated his child marriage when she was 9. Other than that, though, great guy.
Good one.
So that neighborhood has gotten the city to go along with naming their streets those names. Now that's sending quite a message, isn't it? That neighborhood is sending quite the message. And the message is, we are not assimilating. We are not assimilating. We are going to bring Islam everywhere. Because remember, that's the whole freaking goal. The whole holy war thing, that's like to bring Islam to non-Muslim countries. And this isn't just any religion. Again, this is a religion that calls for Sharia law, which is incompatible with America and incompatible with the Constitution. Sharia law is completely incompatible with our way of life, period. Sharia law advocates for, if you steal, if they think that you've committed theft, cut off your hand, amputation. If you cheat, if you're an adulterer, sorry, you're going to have to be stoned to death. Don't get me started on what they do to the gays. Women can't go to school. Women can't drive. They don't have any rights. By the way, there is no freedom of speech. The things that I was saying about Muhammad, you're not allowed to say. You would be in big trouble if you said those things about Muhammad if we were under Sharia law. And so when you hear what this advocates for and the ins and outs of Sharia law, anyone with a functioning brain who is unafraid to just say what everyone's thinking, right? Just say it because it needs to be said, which happens to be me. So anyone who is blunt enough to just say things, no matter the repercussion, will admit that Sharia law and the Western world cannot coexist. You cannot have both of these things simultaneously in one place. They cannot coexist. And yeah, by the way, no matter how many coexist bumper stickers you want to throw on your car and be like, oh, we can all just coexist. No. You literally cannot. And by the way, that is only because one of them advocates for death and destruction of those who don't convert, and the other one does not. So it's like, it's sad that in 2025, when we see the writing on the wall, when we see what's happening in the UK, that we even still have to have this conversation. But if Sharia law, we're saying Sharia law is incompatible with America. Okay, well, if Sharia law is the religious law from Islam derived from the Quran, then Islam is incompatible with America and the Constitution. That's just the way it is.
That's true, because it's true.
This isn't racist. It isn't xenophobic. It isn't Islamophobic. It's none of the phobics. It's not meant to hurt feelings. It's not meant to cast judgment. Well, maybe a little. It's not meant to be inflammatory. It really isn't. It just is. That just is what it is. You cannot dispute that these two ways of life are not compatible with each other. And by the way, we were here first, and this is my country, and I'm not giving it over to Islam. I realize that they do not mean us well, and I realize that there are a lot of people who are really scared to say that because they are afraid of the blowback. Not me. I am not giving this country that our founding fathers set up in such a way so that we would be able to, not have this, any of this. This is my country that I want to pass down to my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids. And I'm tired of people walking around pretending like this isn't one of the most existential threats to our country right now. So over there, another place in Collin County, this new development in this sleepy little town, Murphy, Texas. They've got the neighborhood, and then right adjacent, they have land owned by the Islamic Association of Murphy, where they're building a giant mosque. Oh, are we connecting the dots now? This building that they are designing, that they are supposed to build, they've just started construction. The building is up to 32,000 square feet now. I believe it started at almost maybe half that It just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This is all according to their website, by the way. They also say that it is going to be like the largest in DFW, in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Now, the way that they have been able to build this mosque is because they purchased several lots of land that had homes on the land. They just demolished the homes. They demolished the homes. They posted pictures on their website of all these homes just being ripped out from the ground, the yards, the trees, all of it, so that they can build a mosque there instead. Oh, and by the way, when the city approved the mosque, the city said, okay, you guys are going to be responsible for the road repairs in the area. And the mosque threw this big fit. But when you read from the website for the mosque, it's interesting, guys, because they boast that they worked with the mayor to reduce the share of the road improvement cost by the mosque from $800,000 to $396,000. It says, Inshallah, we are working with the city to ask for more reduction. The city has agreed to construct the McMillan Road, bridge, and installation of the traffic signal at the intersection of McMillan and Murphy with an estimated expenditure of $4+ million. That was like do you see how they bragged? The subtle bragging that's taking place there? They just have to tell you how much the city is spending to just be a sitting duck.
What are the important things out there in Texas politics and Texas news that matter to you, and what can you do about it? That's what we want to bring you with the Luke Macias Show on a weekly basis for 20 to 30 minutes. That way you can get the information and go do something for the rest of your week. I look forward to coming to you every Wednesday.
Anyone who ever thought that local elections aren't important? Think again. You don't think that city council elections are important? Think again. You don't think that mayors are important? Who you elect as mayor is important? Think again. Because you've got all these city councils, you've got all these mayors who are really worried about they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. They don't want to be called a xenophobe. They don't want to be called an Islamophobe. Okay, fine, we'll work with you. Oh, okay, you guys are just building these compounds and, what could possibly go wrong? Oh, you don't actually want to assimilate. You're just going to build your own island and then wait until you outpopulate us and then, okay, got it. By the way, again, this is not a freedom of religion issue at all. This is a national security issue. If you can't see the writing on the wall, I mean, it's crazy to me because it's like we don't already have the blueprint for this that is happening in the UK right now. It's literally happening right now. There are literal no-go zones in the UK because, well, it just started out by they just built their own neighborhoods and then they had the mosque and then all of a sudden, it turns out maybe they're just incorporating their own Sharia law and, well, I mean, who's going to stop them? And then they take to the streets and then there's an uprising. And then actual, just citizens of the UK born and raised there can't walk the streets safely.
How is that possible?
And then you have, you've got Jewish places of worship where Muslims with interesting sounding names are killing people.
That's insane.
I know. The UK, the law enforcement there doesn't want to talk about it. We still don't know the motive. Do we not? We don't. We know the motive. We always know the motive. So it's just time that every person who loves this country and the founding principles on which it stands starts saying out loud, very publicly, unabashedly, without fear of recourse or insults or whatever, that no elected official is receiving your vote unless they denounce the Islamification of this country. Period.
Thank you.
And by the way, guys, they're going to call you those names anyway. They're going to call you those names. Just, it's the same way that they say that you're transphobic. They will call a man transphobic if he does not want to have a relationship with a trans woman. So he's not gay, right? And they will still call him transphobic because he's not engaging in the behavior. Eventually, they're just going to call you Islamophobic because you're not converting to Islam. So who cares what they call you? Unless you want to end up, every single city in this country, you want to end up like Dearborn, Michigan, where it looks more like, Iraq these days. Minneapolis, Minnesota, Ilhan Omar's district, where you can't even distinguish from Somalia. I mean, you've got this, that they're changing the flags over in Minnesota to be curiously more like the Somalian flag. This is really important stuff to be paying attention to before it's too late. Because it honestly may be too late for the UK. I don't know how they get out of that. It's not too late for us, but the first step to course correcting this is to act quickly and elect leaders with the balls to do whatever is necessary to keep our republic from being infiltrated by a religion that is taught to hate us and kill us if we don't convert to Islam. And if there's any leader out there who is too afraid to say that, boom, out of here. It's not personal. You're just not the man for the time. It's not personal. I mean, maybe a couple decades ago when we were doing the whole softy Republican thing, maybe that could have flown. Moderate Democrat thing, maybe that could have flown. Now, no. This is literally do or die. You can't be afraid to hurt someone's feelings. We have to do what needs to be done to keep us from turning out like the UK. So that is my message to you guys. Like I said, I have a lot of tips and information that I'm sifting through with the Houston, Katy, Texas Christian baseball coach that was shot while praying, in the middle of praying on a baseball field. And I'm just telling you, again, I've got to get all my ducks in a row, but it all stinks. There are enough coincidences in certain stories where you're just like, there's just no way these things are all a coincidence. That's the type of thing that we're dealing with here. And we need to start talking about it, and we need to stop being afraid to just call a spade a spade. We can't keep this continuing in this country, period. All right, make sure that you subscribe to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered on YouTube. That is where you can find all of my Come and Take It episodes on the playlist. And make sure that you like this. I know you don't like the topic, but like the video because it'll help us in the algorithm. Comment, let me know what you think about all of this. And what do you think can be done? What are some solutions that you think can be done to act quickly and keep us from turning into the disaster that is happening in the UK? That is it for me, and I will see you guys next time on Come and Take It.